Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Man, it's good to be back. Had a little time off with the fam last week. Thanksgiving down in Rocky Top, Tennessee. That's where I was. I'm Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall, number one rated radio host from the Kendall and Casey show.
That's right.
How was your Thanksgiving? You're notoriously a cheap man, so I don't believe you probably traveled or took your family anywhere.
I let other people cook me dinner for Thanksgiving. It's the American way. You know what I found out is I'm much better at picking games on the internet than I am on this show.
You had a good week last week.
I did. Now, I mean, they count, right? It all counts. I had a winning record, so I'm going to take that. I had to take 3 weeks in a row being complete garbage.
So we did not have a podcast last week as I was on the road, and Rob has got a little baby and he's taking care of. So we just put our picks out there on the Degenerates Next Door Twitter, X account, whatever you want to call it. And make sure you follow us. If you're listening to this, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Look for Degenerates Next Door. It's a fun little cartoon picture of Rob and I. Follow us because you never know what type of plays we're going to put out there. Regular season, college football, it's over, which means a couple of things, Rob.
Uh-oh.
No more fading of Purdue. No more Wednesday night Maction. And no more college football degenerate specials. Because if you're still playing at this time of year, you're not a degenerate team.
No.
You're pretty good. So when we make that transition to college basketball, fear not, the degenerate special will come back. But through the regular season, from week 0 up until the very end, your boy here finished 3 games above 500.
Woo! Looks like we made it.
That's right. Winning record. There were ups. There were downs. I had a perfect 5-0 weekend, and I believe I followed it with the Golden Sombrero weekend. Nobody ran the gamut more than I did this year, but I'll take being 3 games above 500.
That's pretty good, and I think by contrast, I was 3 games under 500. So if you'd have bet $1 million on all of our picks, you'd have been even.
Even Steven, baby.
Now, we got to point out, we did get, we did get the IU over correct for the season.
Yes.
We got the Purdue under correct for the season.
Win totals, yes.
And I was very specific that in the opening podcast, I thought Notre Dame was going to go over 10 wins, but because I wanted to ensure that they went over, I took the under, just like I took the USC getting 7.5 last week and lost that bet. So I should get credit for that one, even though technically my pick was under, but it was all to ensure Notre Dame was in the playoff, which they now are in the playoff.
I have no idea what you just said.
It's called betting against yourself. We do this all the time on this show, right?
Okay,
you bet against yourself.
You are reverse jinx
That's
guy,
right. Either way, I win.
So if you want your favorite team to win, you're an unapologetic Notre Dame guy.
That's right.
So if you want Notre Dame to win and punch their ticket to the college football playoffs, you bet on USC.
That's right. I did. Even though I thought Notre Dame was going to win that game by more than 7.5. And I said, if I do this, they'll lose this game and it'll be all my fault. And so I took USC, and it was the best money I ever lost.
Now, our pal Dan Dockich, mutual friend from Outkick, he always says he does not want to bet on a game where he's betting against the team that he likes. He will not bet against, a team that he's rooting for. You, on the other hand, you go the polar opposite.
Can't lose that way. Either you're winning money or your team's winning. I bet so little in terms of monetary value, I gladly would pay $5 to see Notre Dame in the college football playoff.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here. We have got some big-time college football games, SEC championship, Big Ten championship, a lot of fun action beginning on Friday.
So ready for Friday.
All right, so we're going to get to picking these conference championship games here in just a moment. Because, again, the meaningful football games begin this week. But very important breaking news bulletin, Rob Kendall.
Yes.
We've got somebody partnered with us here.
Yeah, that's right. Can you believe it? Somebody would want to be partners with us?
I can see somebody wanting to partner with me, But the fact that you're here and
Yes.
somebody still decided to show up and partner with us, sweet Jesus, that's a miracle.
Yeah, man, these guys are awesome. And, we endorse lots of things. And I think one of the cool things about what we do with our radio station in Indianapolis, WIBC, is we endorse things we believe in. We endorse things that work.
We've turned things down.
Yeah, and for this show, I think one of the challenges for us when we were doing very well early on was let's find sponsors that we believe in, things that we use. And, that really narrows us down to basically booze and gambling, right?
Right. After the Bada Bing Strip Club told us no, we said, all right, how do we get everybody else on board?
But these guys that we're about to talk about, they are phenomenal, and it's the perfect sponsor for the Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast.
StatFactory.io. That is the name of the website. Chad Kammerling is here. He is with Stat Factory. Chad, my man, good to see you. Now, tell us a little bit about Stat Factory.
So Stat Factory
Get a little closer to that microphone for me.
Stat Factory has all the statistics in head-to-head comparisons that you would typically look at from a gambling perspective. Quick comparisons, back and forth. You can easily see up to 50 side-to-side stats, side-to-side.
Okay, so instead of going to multiple websites looking for how they've done at home, how they've done on the road, where they ranked at with rush defense, passing offense, turnovers, all that kind of stuff, injury reports, this is your one-stop shop for all things you need to make a good bet, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're adding to the website daily with new features. It's going to have an AI-based scenario on there likewise.
Which I think is huge. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is how this is going to work. So you pull all of the information that you want from a game. Let's say you are going to be betting on the Colts and Broncos. I know they don't play this weekend, but that's the next game for the Colts. Colts and Broncos. So you go on Stat Factory, you pull the information for those two teams, you compare, contrast, and then here in a few weeks, you're going to be able to feed that information to this AI hot chick with big cans, and she is going to basically break down what she thinks may happen in that game based on the information you're pulling.
Absolutely. Her name is Data Girl.
And God bless you for making the AI bot Data Girl and not Rob Kendall.
Well, and here, here's one of the cool things about StatFactory.io. And by the way, it's my understanding, Chad, you're the brainchild for this, right? Like the guys who made Stat Factory, you were the initial voice that was like, you guys need to create this website.
How can we get all this together? It started just like that about 3 years ago, and there's not a team of them. It's basically two guys doing all this. So,
and you're playing too. You're a gambler. You're not like just some IT egghead nerd.
Chad's a total degenerate.
No,
yeah, he's one of us.
I fit in with you guys.
One of us.
Well, and that's the cool thing about this is like the way that StatFactory.io takes all this data and makes it super simple for you, and it's worked for me so far. Some of our listeners may know I had a bit of a rough patch there, Hammer.
The text messages you were sending me over the weekend, I thought you were about to go full Jimmy Stewart and jump off a bridge.
And went to started with Stat Factory's site was getting up. We knew they were coming on board. They finally got it into kind of a launch mode for us to test it. I used it. It works. You notice you don't hardly hear from me anymore. the data on this stuff is so great. And Chad, Hammer and I talk about this all the time. Sports betting is, because it's got human interaction, it's so unpredictable. Anything you can do to give yourself even just a little bit of an advantage, you're going to take it.
Absolutely, and that's all it takes. That's what this is giving you. In my opinion, like Rob said, you don't have to go from site to site to site to site. You've got everything in front of you. And as you get more familiar with it, you start peeling the layers back and find out it's like, well, man, you could have 10 different collections with 10 different stats if you wanted to look at all offensive stats side by side, all defensive stats, or you can make a combination of all of them, which is, I'm just getting familiar with it again too, because this is version 4.5.
And these update in real time too, right?
Yes, update, I believe every 2 to 3 minutes. on the live
Fantastic.
action.
So statfactory.io is the website. My understanding right now, you sign up. It's 7-day free trial, right?
Right,
Try it.
7-day free trial. Use the promo code DEGENERATES. 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 You can get 25% off of the monthly subscriber fee. And when we say monthly subscriber fee, it's only like $12.
Yeah, it's priced pretty inexpensive.
Dude, I spend more on that betting on MAC football games on a Wednesday night. I spend more at the gas station every morning than that, and you get access to all of this information. Like you always hear these experts go, well, the model predicts this, the model predicts that. This is the model.
It is the model.
This
Like
is
so
the model.
you come up with the data that you want. You come up with whatever works for you. This is the model.
Yeah, statfactory.io. Sign up. It's a 7-day free trial. Use the code DEGENERATES, right?
Yes.
DEGENERATES, and you will get 25% off your monthly subscription fee. And again, one other thing, and I wanted to hit on with you and Chad on this, is we talk about for frugal people like me, right?
Cheap asses.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
About how your sports betting to me is buying cheap entertainment. You want to win, but if you lose, well, it's 3 hours of entertainment for $5 or
Right.
whatever. Where else are you getting that? Part of this for me is the fun of the entertainment. If you can spend hours crunching the data, it's fun to put different things in and come up with different scenarios before you place your bets. And like you're talking about, $12 or whatever it ends up being a month with the promo code Degenerates, it's hours and hours and hours of entertainment for $12 a month.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been spending way too much time on this, all the different sports right now, and it's been very helpful.
Yeah.
That's how this idea started, was the time spent on this. And
Right.
Bob came up with a really good idea of here's how we can do this, and here's what do we need, and what do we need.
And it's still in its infancy. So if you go to statfactory.io right now, probably best to go to it on your laptop or a desktop right now. I know you guys are working on like the mobile version, but it's best on a desktop or laptop right now.
Perfect for me. I don't do anything on my phone.
But
Windows 95. Here we come.
you're going to be adding all the sports to it very soon. And again, the AI is coming to it soon. Right now, you guys have the NFL and the NBA up, right?
NBA's starting to upload now.
Okay.
Yes.
And then pretty soon it'll be college basketball and then baseball and all that kind of stuff. And this will be your one-stop shop for all things sports information for a low, low monthly price. Again, if you're making bets, $12 isn't anything.
Absolutely.
And real quick before we let you go, you're pretty good at what you do as a bettor. Like we've had conversations before. Come on, give us a little dirt here. Like if you go on Stat Factory, what are some things that you pull, that you look for, that can maybe give our audience a bit of an edge?
I like to look for margin of victory, whether it's against the spread or straight up. That seems to be one note based on past performances, whether it be this year, whether it be the prior year. And if you really start watching that, you'll see how close these games can be. If it says this team averages winning by 7.2 points and they're -7 and the opposing team loses by 3 points, which gives.
Right. Last thing here before we let you go. Again, Chad Kammerling is here with StatFactory.io, proud presenting sponsors here of the Degenerates Next Door. So when you first log on to this site, it could be a little intimidating looking at it. What do you suggest for somebody that logs on and now they're like, oh, crap, now what?
Okay, so you'll hit your dashboard. That'll give you sports selection. You're going to have to select a sport first. Then you're going to have to select a game. Once you select a game, then you'll go to the stat picker, and then you can start scrolling down what stats you want. And in each folder, there's roughly 20 to 60 stats, and there's several folders. Then you can build that. You've got cumulative, you've got Z-score, you've got all these options.
What is Z-score? Like, in the most layman terms, like, talk to me like I'm 5 here, because I see that on Stat Factory's website. What does that mean?
Bad and good.
Okay. I can understand that. Yes.
One-
My Ball State education can comprehend that.
one number that represents how the team's performance does based on a scale from 0 to 1.
Okay, so 0 to 1 is the scale. So let's say it's the Detroit Lions. 1 is good.
Absolutely.
So, like, they would be closer to a 1 as to where the New York Giants would be 0. Is there any negatives for the Giants? I don't know.
I cannot answer that, but if there's a negative, it would be the Giants.
Well, man, this is awesome. Again, more sports are going to be added to this soon. College football will be on the way. College basketball on the way. NFL's there right now. NBA is there right now. StatFactory.io. Sign up for the free trial, and if you dig it, use the promo code DEGENERATES, and you get a discount. Man, Chad, this is awesome. Thank you so much for partnering with us, and don't be a stranger, man. If you got some plays, we've got an open seat for you.
Absolutely. And StatFactory.io, not to be confused with Satisfaction.io.
Which is something totally different. Something totally different.
Which we'd take them as a sponsor maybe too.
Right.
Hey, who's ever got the open wallet, right?
Chad, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, Hammer, you know that StatFactory.io, that's an awesome service, going to save us a ton of time.
All right, let's get down to business here. The SEC. It just matters more, Rob. And you got a couple heavyweights here, Texas and Georgia. I honestly believe the two best teams in the SEC are playing for the SEC championship. Georgia's had their ups and downs this year. Texas haven't really beaten anybody. But, man, you look at the athletes. The NFL players are going to be on the field for this game. There's a lot of them. Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. The game is in Atlanta. The over-under 49.
Okay, like you said, this game is in Atlanta, so it'll be a quasi-home game for Georgia. And there's a big part of me that thinks Georgia might actually pull this off. But they looked so bad against Georgia Tech at home. Georgia Tech gave that game away. They wouldn't even be playing in this game or maybe even in the final 12 if they'd have lost that game. Look, I know Texas got smoked the first time around, but Texas is 4-1 in their last 5 games played in December. Georgia is 2-9 in their last 11 games versus the spread. Georgia's secondary isn't great. There's no way Texas can get smoked twice. Maybe some poor girl on Instagram will give Quinn Ewers a bunch of nudes before the game. I'm going to take Texas minus 2.5.
So you're in on the Longhorns to avenge that beatdown.
Oh, it's horrible.
That they took in Austin earlier this year.
No way that happens twice, right?
Well, Rob, sometimes we have the same picks.
That's right.
But every once in a while, we go head-to-head. Every once in a while, there's a showdown. Give me those barking dogs of Georgia here. So you're telling me that I can get that Georgia defensive line. You're telling me that I can get that Georgia defense, Kirby Smart, with points and a de facto home game. Now, they've already beaten Texas once. They went to Austin and made Quinn Ewers look so bad, they benched him for Arch Manning for just a little bit. And now this game is in Atlanta. Don't give me this crap that it's a neutral site game. That crowd is going to be full of those loud, obnoxious, barking Georgia fans. And if those hillbillies in Georgia can rattle the devil in a fiddle playing contest, I think they can rattle a kid who has to beg chicks to send him nudes. You're right. Georgia was not good against Georgia Tech. But you know what? Georgia Tech's not bad, and I think they've got a really good quarterback who's going to make a lot of money.
He's going to be great at Notre Dame next year.
When he hits the transfer portal, Haynes King at Georgia Tech. But when Georgia has a bad outing, they usually respond very well, and that's the Kirby Smart factor. One of the great red asses of college football, Kirby Smart. So give me the dogs to respond. I'm getting points. It's in Atlanta. Who's that coming down the track? It's the Mean Machine in the red and black. Georgia plus 2.5.
All right, I like your bet better. Can I have your bet? You changed my mind.
All right, so you heard Rob. He's in on Texas. And even though Texas was my preseason pick to win the national championship. I have got a live current play on Texas to win it all. I think Georgia covers. I think Georgia hangs around, and I think Georgia actually wins this game. So Rob and I are on different sides of the SEC championship game. Let's see what our professional thinks. David Stefanoff of followneverfade.com. David, you heard Rob. You heard his reasonings why he's in on Texas. You heard my breakdown. I'm in on the Dogs. Where are you?
First off, thank you, Hammer, and thank you, Rob. And once again, Hammer, you're going with the kid you want to punch in the face. What are you doing? Rob, you're on the right side. I love this game here. I mean, they already played this year. Georgia beat them. Now they're playing on a neutral field, and Texas is favored. That tells you all you need to know. How many times are we going to let Carson Beck put us in position to lose? It's happened more than it's not happened this year, Hammer. I love Texas here. Texas was my pick. I made a small future bet or a dumb future bet earlier this year with Texas to go undefeated in the regular season. They didn't work out too well. But I think they're playing the best football right now. Carson Beck, he puts Georgia in too many bad positions from behind. They should have lost to Georgia Tech. Texas in this place is to play, guys. Neutral field. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Really a neutral field, though? I mean, it's in Atlanta. So you know as well as I do, those Bulldog fans are going to pack that crowd. They're going to be barking.
You're right, but it's not in Athens and not between the hedges. It's on AstroTurf. That's on the top of that. It's kitchen to be perfect. I just think Vegas is showing their hand here. Georgia's just had too many flaws in the season. They're not. I'm anti Carson Beck, Hammer. That's all.
I got you. I get it.
Carson Beck. But hey, I want to mention one thing on Friday night besides this game, guys. Boise's playing UNLV, and this is one of my favorite games which I'm giving away for free on all my platforms Friday on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Boise's giving 4 to UNLV. Guys, this is the trap of the week. This is in Allegiant Field on Vegas. UNLV is getting 4 points. I really think this is where Boise drops the ball here. This is where they drop the ball. Boise's a one-headed monster, but people out there, don't fall for this trap and take Boise Friday night, people. I love UNLV to win outright.
This UNLV-Boise game, I believe it's in Boise's home campus site here. You got the Smurf turf. The wind chill is going to be close to 0 in this one. That's the case, man. I kind of want the running attack.
I do too, but Boise's been prone to give up tons of points, and the defense has not been good all year long. Vegas is actually good. The games they've lost, Vegas has really lost themselves. The Syracuse game, I think off the top of my head, Vegas has beat themselves. The whole world's against Vegas. The smartest gambler in the world, my father taught me, is when I was 3 years old, when I was betting parlay cards. He said, son, -4 in any sport's a trap. That's our number one gambling thing. Whenever I see -4, it makes me scared. I just think this game's way closer than Vegas thinks. I know it's going to be cold, but Vegas is tougher than Boise. Boise almost got me so many times this year. Boise gave up tons of points, and their defense it's really suspect. If you look at the beginning of the year, they were a horrible defense. They got better. They're a one-headed monster. UNLV gets it done outright, Hammer, in the cold weather.
The origin story of David Stefanoff is going to be one hell of a movie where, like, all these other 3-year-olds, they're playing with rings and they're watching Sesame Street. And then over in the corner, little degenerate David is working on parlay cards.
Hey, first parlay card I ever hit, I was 4 years old, and I'll remember it. It was preseason football, and I needed the Cowboys to win, and they kicked the field goal to win, and I thought I won the $1 million. I think I won 10, and I think I won 10. But you know what it is. It's parlay cards. Everybody lived in parlay cards back in the day. But everybody have a great week. You can follow me on all platforms, like I said, every day. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. My VIP is available. Message me directly on the website. I'm real easy to access. But everybody, good luck this week. College basketball starting to heat up. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Hammer. And don't forget to follow Never Fade.
So, again, that origin story movie of David Stefanoff of followneverfade.com, all the other kids, they're over here. They're learning the alphabet. They're watching Elmo. But there's little David over in the corner, and he's got a parlay card in his hand. This is amazing. That is like, I totally understand David a little bit more. I understand where David Stefanoff developed.
Yeah.
Because his old man is a great bookmaker.
That's a Makes me appreciate my own father a little more, doesn't it?
That is so good. Now, laughing aside, I don't know if I should be concerned or maybe I should be happy because I am going toe-to-toe with David Stefanoff. I'm in on Georgia. He basically called me a sucker. He likes UNLV getting the points in this game against Boise State on Friday. Rob, I'm in on Boise State. I like Boise State. 4 is the number, and you heard David. 4 is like the sucker number that Vegas wants you to jump on. Well, who has 2 thumbs and is a sucker? This guy. Because this is a true road game for UNLV. They're not playing on a neutral site. They're playing on the Smurf turf in Boise.
That's crap, isn't it?
Hey, to the winner goes the spoil. Conference champ, regular season, gets to host the game. And it's going to be cold as hell, wind chill, single digits, maybe around 0. And Boise State already went to Las Vegas and covered and beat UNLV on a fast track at Allegiant Stadium, because that's where they played that game earlier in the year. I want Boise State. I want the running game. I want home field advantage in those conditions. I'm going to lay 4 with Boise State.
Hey, Hammer, question for you. I heard this big pronunciation, this big speech about how somebody, I can't remember who, was taking the under in a Sunday night football game and told their coworker, stay the heck off of it so you don't jinx it, because there was going to be snow and it was going to be cold and the quarterback wasn't going to be able to perform and connect passes and the Bills were really going to struggle. How'd that go?
I hate you so much. I loathe you because I was beaten by the hook in that snow blizzard game where Josh Allen threw a pass, caught a pass, ran that same pass in for a touchdown. The Niners had no interest in wrapping up. I lost the total by a hook.
Yeah. I was cheering against you the whole time, too, because you didn't want me to be on your team. You didn't want me to be on the team with you on the under. So I let you have that loss, and I was cheering for you against you the entire time.
Words can't describe how much I hate you.
All right, all that to be said. Boise State this and Boise State that. And, yeah, they've got arguably the best player in college football at running back. I get it. I've heard it. That dude is awesome. No denying it. But Boise State has struggled against some real garbage teams lately. These teams played in Week 9. Boise State won by 5, and they controlled the ball the whole game. Dominated time of possession. I think they're going to be hard-pressed to do it again. UNLV has the better quarterback. Give me the better quarterback in the cold. I'm using the Jason Hammer school of picking games. Better quarterback getting points. And how am I going to bet against a guy who at 3 years old was filling out parlay cards with his old man who was breaking people's kneecaps, giving UNLV taking the 4?
All right, Rob is on the Running Rebels, catching 4 points on Friday. All right, we've thrown a lot at you already. Let's take a little break, and when we come back, rapid fire through the rest of these games. Big 10, we've got ACC, Big 12. It's all on the way. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, presented by StatFactory.io.
Yeah!
So happy to have those dudes on board. Conference championship games this weekend here in our backyard in Indianapolis. Oregon versus Penn State. Penn State kind of backdooring their way into this Big Ten championship game. This line, there's something funky about it, Rob. Oregon, just a 3.5-point favorite at the time of this recording, which is Tuesday at noon. Oregon, 3.5-point favorite against Penn State. Over-under is 50.
Yeah, you and I have talked a lot about this, and usually when something seems really, really off and we're like, I can't believe it's this low, this time next week we're going to be playing the Who's Screwing Me Now music.
Right.
Because this should be a 7-point spread or more. Penn State was a 3.5-point underdog against Ohio State, and they got beat by 7. Oregon's put up double-digit wins this year against every team other than Ohio State, Boise State, and Wisconsin, and they seem to get better most weeks. Penn State has some guys up front. I get that. But, while they can move some bodies, they don't have the horses or the speed to compete on the outside. Penn State is 1-6 in its last 7 games as an underdog indoor game, neutral site, on turf, everything. Penn State might have more fans in the stands, but these are basically professional athletes at this point.
And Oregon fans travel pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Everything in the favor of Oregon. And who can forget? Old big game James Franklin sucks. I'm taking Oregon -3.5.
Listen, I'm with you on this one.
Oh, no.
And I know this is usually poison when we're on the same side of a bet, but not only did Penn State lose at home to the Buckeyes, in large part because of the decision-making of one big game James, but don't forget, they're just a few weeks removed from nearly being upset by Row Your Boat guy in Minnesota, and they needed overtime to beat a very piss-poor USC team where the quarterback is transferring because he wants to play for a winner. The quarterback is leaving Lincoln Riley and USC because he wants to play for a winner. Let that sink in. So I'm with you. Give me the Ducks. I'll lay 3.5. All right, let me take you back to Friday night. Dr. Dre, can I get some mood music, please?
What up? This is Dr. Dre. The party's going on. Thank God it's Friday.
Got a little campus site action. Tulane at Army. Army, fresh off being depantsed by Notre Dame just a few weeks ago. And, man, it feels like Notre Dame kind of laid the blueprint on how you defend against Army.
That's right.
Now, not everybody has the horses that Notre Dame has. I get that. And certainly it isn't the Tulane defense. But schematically, I think the way that Marcus Freeman prepared for that Army game is the blueprint. So Tulane, 5.5-point road favorite at Army on Friday night, over under 46.5. Tulane, 8-3 with a plus 20.7 average scoring margin this year. They're 5-1 against the spread on the road, and as a favorite, they've gone 7-2 against the spread this season. Tulane's offense, they're averaging 39.1 points per game. That's good for 6th in the nation. They're also 2nd in third down conversions, and that's key for me because I'll tell you why here in just a second with my bet. But I love to see these third down conversions. Their rushing game, pretty strong, 214.5 yards per game, 41.5 attempts per game. I think Tulane scores some points. Now, their defense stinks to high heaven. I don't feel comfortable on a side here, but I'm going to go with Tulane 25.5 team total.
Oh, I like that.
Over 25.5
like
points for Tulane, the team total against Army.
You got to get them off the field then. You get the Army off the field.
Right. And then Tulane can score. Tulane can score, and Army's defense can be had. Again, we saw that with Notre Dame. All right, Rob, take me to the Big 12. Arizona State, 2.5-point favorite against Iowa State. This is a game in Jerry's World down in Dallas.
Yeah, this is really a pick 'em game. I don't think there's a lot of space here. I think Arizona State's offense is a little better, and this is my biggest factor. They're 10-2 against the spread this year, 5-0 in the last 5. Iowa State is also 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 December games. And if we're going by nuts and bolts, if you have to have one of those reasons why Arizona State might cover, their running back, this guy's name is Cam Scatabo.
Awesome.
Cam Scatabo has had a really good year with 1,866 all-purpose yards and 19 touchdowns. Iowa State has really struggled against the run, giving up 173.7 yards per game. And if Arizona State can eat some clock and keep Iowa State offense off the field, they'll have a pretty good shot. I'll take Arizona State with a low confidence level, laying 2.5.
All right, so Rob is in on Arizona State. Every girl I've met from Arizona State puts out. Like, there's a few that work in our sales department here that I've known for a long time. Our morning guy, Tony Katz.
Yeah, he didn't graduate.
Boy, what does that say? You can't get a degree from Arizona State when they literally just pass it out when you go to McDonald's? It's a party school. The chicks go to, take their tops off and dance on bars and put out. Our morning guy went there for an education and didn't graduate.
He always clarifies that, too, as though it's some higher thing like, I went to Arizona State, didn't graduate. I don't think that's quite the own that you...
That's like saying, I got a job at McDonald's and I couldn't work my way up to fries. Wow. All right, I need a break. I've got to let this sink in. Going to take a little break here. When we come back, few more games for you. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Wow. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, StatFactory.io. Log on to the website. The mobile site is coming soon. All right, ACC championship game, SMU and Clemson. SMU, 2.5-point favorite against Clemson. This game is in Charlotte with an over-under sitting at a pretty high 56.
Clemson has played 3 decent teams all year. They've lost them all. I watched every snap of that South Carolina game. South Carolina did not play well, and they still won. Clemson's offense is garbage. They totally don't deserve to be in this game. They got lucky. They got lucky that Syracuse pulverized Miami. SMU is 5th in the nation in points per game. I'm a little nervous about this game because SMU hasn't exactly been murderer's row either. They've won every game but one, but their schedule isn't exactly the best in the country. But SMU is a decent defense. If they can score 24 points, I think they'll cover 2.5. SMU's 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. Clemson's 1-5 in their last 6.
All right. So in addition to a lot of moonshine, bourbon, and whiskey that I've been drinking since Thanksgiving break, because I did go down to Tennessee and visit a few distilleries, I've been doing a little bit of a homework bender.
Oh,
Rob.
how exciting.
And thanks to our new partner, StatFactory.io,
Yes.
once they get college football games up, I won't have to do as much homework. So it's going to be right there for me. But I've been doing a little bit of homework on this ACC championship game.
Well, if it isn't the leader of the Wiener Patrol, boning up on his nerd lessons.
So let me break it down for you right here.
Yeah.
SMU, 5th among all FBS teams for points per game this season.
Yeah.
39.2. They can score. SMU, 5th in the nation for first quarter points per game.
Ooh.
10.4. All right, on the other side, you've got Clemson. They are tied for 5th among FBS teams for first downs this season, so they can move the ball. And Clemson, they are one spot behind SMU. They are 6th in FBS teams for points per game in the first quarter at 10.1.
Wow.
So if everybody comes out swinging here, right? And if you're Dabo Sweeney, you kind of got to do something to keep the Rabbit fan base off your ass for a little bit. I think you get some points. I'm going to ride the Lightning.
Ooh.
We're going over 13.5 total points in the first quarter, Rob.
I like it.
2 touchdowns in the first quarter of that ACC championship game. Your toes are tapping.
Let's hope it's SMU scoring all 14. I win, you win.
Let's recap the board. Mr. Former elected official Rob Kendall, break it down.
Okay, so we start with the game that you and I can't figure out why it's this low. I'm sure we'll find out as next week we come back and go, boy, that was a stupid bet. We got Oregon laying 3.5 against Penn State and Indianapolis. You and I are on the opposite side of this. I've got UNLV getting the 4 against Boise State. I've got Texas laying 2.5 against Georgia. Again, we're on the opposite side of things. I've got SMU laying 2.5 against Clemson and Arizona State laying 2.5 against Iowa State.
Give me those barking dogs of Georgia. I'm catching points, and I'm in Atlanta. I'll take Georgia plus 2.5. I'm with Rob, Oregon, minus 3.5. Boise State, road game for UNLV in the cold. Give me the running attack. I'll lay 4 with Boise State. Tulane, team total over 22.5. And SMU and Clemson, first quarter over 13.5 total points. Again, check out our new sponsor. It's a really cool site. Some local dudes do it around here, and they are awesome. They are one of us. They're gamblers, and they put this together. They use math, real-time stats, statfactory.io. Check it out on your laptop or a desktop right now. The mobile version will be coming very soon, and the AI feature will be coming soon, along with a lot of other sports. NFL's up there right now. NBA's up there right now. Log on, check it out, and if you like it, after your free trial period, it's just $12 a month, and you can use the promo code DEGENERATES, with an S. Use all capital letters. Screw it. Go big or go home. DEGENERATES, and get even more of a discount. StatFactory.io. All right, for David Stefanoff of FallOnNeverFade.com, for Rob Kendall, I am Jason Hammer. Good luck, everybody. We will talk to you on Thursday for the NFL edition of The Degenerates Next Door. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.